Hello, I'm Luke Darcy. Welcome to Access All Areas. What a magnificent opening weekend of the final series. A clinical display from the Hawks. A day of upsets on the Saturday. And then what about yesterday's game? 94,000 at the MCG. Great start to the finals, Damo.
It was, Darcy. You say upsets, and I think to the general footy community it was on Saturday, wasn't it? But to the two teams that won those games on that day, Fremantle and Port Adelaide, they felt they were going into those games as favourites. And I think they've really thrown the spanner amongst it now. Fremantle's a massive premiership chance, has been all year, Darcy. And Port doesn't think its season's going to finish this week either.
I know you picked Fremantle, Damo. You just wanted to highlight that off the top, so well done to you. You had to get one right at some stage. Chris Judd was absolutely incredible. Struggled a little bit in the first half, but coming back from a severe medial ligament strain, 11 possessions in the third quarter, kicked a crucial goal that you'll see in a couple of moments' time, but it was a great display from the champ.
Darcy, I want you to take us inside his head. At half-time, he'd only had the 9 possessions at half-time, and as you mentioned, in the third quarter, picked up another 11, but just got this team back into the hunt with disposal like that, and just gut-running. Darcy, tell us how he could will himself to it, because his season was effectively finished.
Well, I think he probably would have had some doubt. Can my knee hold up? Can I twist and turn in the first half? Then the confidence issues that go with that. And then once he realised that it was okay, have you got the mental capacity to go on and do it? And he did, which was sensational. Mick Malthouse, we have to pay some respect to him, Damo. First coach ever to coach 4 different teams into the finals, and he now becomes the most successful finals coach of all time.
Yeah, and obviously winning finals at each club now too. I mean, incredible to think that Carlton is where they are at. Dus, a few things went their way yesterday by way of umpiring. One didn't. Mitch Robinson, in this crucial period of the game in the last quarter, basically put the ball over the line in a ruck contest. The rules are the rules, Dus, and that is a free kick every day of the week.
The amusing thing to me, and the not surprising thing to me in some ways, is that he had no idea that was a rule. Jared Waite said after the game that he wasn't sure that was the case. Now, the rush behind rule came into place after the 2008 grand final where Luke Hodge handballed over his head. The technical aspect of it was that they've then since decided that if you fist it through from that situation, players haven't caught up with the rule changes, Dame. And there was another example in the game of a play on call. Now, the Rules Committee, in their wisdom, has decided to adjudicate the play on advantage differently. If a player grabs the footy and runs away with it, that is deemed to be play on. Now, Vickery's going back to kick the goal. You tell me that Edwards had any understanding that a free kick had been paid. There's 95,000, Dame. I've been out there before. You don't hear the whistle. Common sense says that that's not advantage.
So you're saying there Edwards wouldn't have heard the whistle?
No chance in the world. And if he did, he deserves to never play the game again. You don't play on. Look at Damien Harbert's reaction. I just think the Rules Committee's obsession...
The rules,
I've got to put my hand up and say I've been on it.
Yeah.
The obsession with changing the rules, changing the interpretation means that you get moments like that are confusing to players. And the common sense element is gone. That should have been called back. It should have been a shot at goal. And the over-the-line rule, players just don't know the rules. It's how many sports are played where players don't know the rules? I find that bizarre.
Yeah, well, I'm with you on that. Hey, Dustin Martin, OK in the first half yesterday, probably fell away. Kicked a goal in the second quarter here, and the goal took Richmond 26 points clear. I want to ask you how he could be thinking about doing something like he's about to do on screen now, the jailhouse salute at that time of a crucial final.
Not a big rap for the jailhouse salute, as you called it, Damo. We've seen players go with it before. It's some sort of tribute to a mate who's behind bus. Write him a letter, Dustin. Maybe give him a call if you've got someone that means something to you. I'm not trying to be overly cute about this. After that moment, Dustin Martin had 8 possessions in the second half. You have got Richmond supporters who waited their whole life for that. Find your time for your personal time afterwards. I would be absolutely furious if I was Damien Harper and his teammates. That is very selfish and I think just a really poor thing to do. Leave that out of the game. Give him a call. Send him a postcard.
Yeah, that's pretty strong stuff from you, Dus. The AFL has relaxed its views on that a little bit, but in the past they've actually sent Please Explains to Michael Gardner and also Brendan Goddard. They've just backed off a little bit in recent times.
Do you like it? Do you think that's a good look?
I loathe it. I'm just surprised to hear how strong you are on it, because I would have thought you'd take the players' side like you often do.
In a big final, your whole season's on the line, to be thinking about that,
yeah,
I don't understand it.
No, I don't get it. And I reckon Mark Evans should be sending off a very serious Please Explain letter to both Dustin and his footy club. Dus, Ryan Crowley got inside the Cats players' heads yet again. This is after the game. Now, goes up to Steve Johnson to shake hands, and Steve Johnson instigates contact to Crawley's upper, chest region, maybe even neck. It's not a good look, is it?
Not something you see all the time. It just shows the feeling between the Fremantle and Geelong football clubs is more than just contained when the siren sounds at the start of the game, at the end of the game. They have got some genuine hatred for Ryan Crowley. They don't like his tactics, and credit to him, he gets inside the Geelong players' heads. He did it again. His job he did on Stevie Johnson to keep him to 8 possessions after he started with 12 possessions and 2 goals. Look, it's not a great look, but you reckon players don't care. You think that there's not some genuine spite in the contest. I don't think there's much more than that, apart from you'd love to see them front up again and try and do it again.
Stevie Johnson was also involved in another incident with Chris May. Now, last week you had a crack at Stevie Johnson for going to ground. Has he gone to ground unnecessarily on that hit from Chris May? I reckon Mayne's in a bit of strife match review panel-wise.
Look, I love Stevie Johnson, and he's absolutely a superstar of the game, and I love everything he stands for. I think he's one of the great characters. But, look, I think if he had his time again, I just think, you know what, you were always taught to just... You've probably hit harder hits, you know, with your kids at home than that from Stevie. Let's hope Mayne isn't suspended for that. I don't think there was much in it. And I think sometimes you just get in the habit. You think, well, someone's whacked me, I'm going to get a free kick. Not much more than that, but I think Stevie will keep his feet next time. Did
the umpire get caught up in this moment at the start of the game? Reported Zach Dawson for that, even though he missed Podsy Adley there, and then gave, equally as crucially, a free kick to Pods before the game even started. Umpire
just completely lost it there. He guessed there was a bit of push and shove, and that arm went flying over the shoulder, but it was just Zach Dawson, a bit of a push, and the umpire quite foolishly reported Zach Dawson. Never should have happened. It was a bit of a beat-up, and there won't be any dramas as a result of that. No one should be reported for that. Timing in sport, Das, it's everything, isn't it? Like a Brian Lara cover drive. Stephen Hill coming off the boundary line here. Just one step onto the ground, gets that loose ball, and then seals the game of footy. Love watching this man run, Dama. Have a look at how well he glides across the turf. He's going away from his chaser there, I think it's Alan Christensen, and then kicks the goal. Took it upon himself. There were shorter options that he could have used. He said, I'm the star, I'm good enough to do it. Look at the timing, straight on the bench, away he goes, and look at the way he ran. They are an incredibly talented side, brilliantly coached, and they've got the great mix of tough taggers, outside runners, and they have to be now a genuine chance for the flag this year. Oh, no doubt. One of the upsets, as you said, to the general footy community on the Saturday was the Dockers. Port Adelaide was the other one, beating Collingwood on Saturday night. They've got a trick bag, Das. I mean, we've seen Jay Schultz do things like that before, but to do it in a final and then to go back and kick the goal after that mark, there's a lot to like about this club. He's turned himself into a great player, Jay Schultz. He leads up at the footy hard. He can sit on your head, and he's a great kick for goal. Travis Boak's story this year, deciding to stay, becoming captain. Was quiet on the night boat, but was still crucial. Well held by MacArthur. This guy. You still find a way. Ollie Wines is just an absolute jet. Have a look at the powerful shape and size. He missed a goal before that could have been costly. Had enough composure and resilience. Ken Hinkley is a genius as well. He's just got a great understanding of the game. I thought he coached brilliantly on the weekend, Ken Hinkley. And yeah, you're right. Port Adelaide went there absolutely believing they could win the game, and they did it. He sure does. We've talked about him regularly on Access All Areas this year, but he's had some brain fade moments throughout the year. And when a brain fade moment comes, as it did on a few occasions in a final which you lose, lots of questions get asked. I want you to have a look at what he's done on the weekend, and let's have a listen. I can't be any clearer there. Don't go high, don't go high, don't go high. And then he puts his hand around Angus Monfrey's throat. You've got no choice but to pay a free kick. Nathan Buckley described it as a brain snap after the game. And he leaves himself really vulnerable, Heath Shaw. If you can't understand the rules of the game, you can't do what your coach wants, then your place in the side becomes a question mark. And that was a massive turning point. It was a 2-goal in 2 minutes. They then kicked the third goal. And basically, it was 3 goals and 6 kicks. Turned the game like this. It was a difference between winning and losing, and they hurt you, those ones. Well, I love his passion. I know you do too, and I know Nathan Buckley deep down does, but it's costing this club, and it has cost him this year, Das. Even at half-time, he threw the ball into Angus Monfrey's face. Now, had this not been a siren situation where the play had been stopped for a period of the game, that's a free kick every day of the week. And once again, I reckon the umpire should have had the guts to pay a free kick somehow in that situation to Monfrey. That's really poor. 1955, a player was reported suspended for 2 weeks, Damo. There is precedent back in 55 for throwing a ball in a player's face. It's just silly, unnecessary. Could have cost his side again. Hey, there's been some changes, Damo, at Collingwood already. We heard Nathan Buckley after the game say we're going to look at our culture, our players, our coaches. Everything's on the table. David Butterfint there, 12-year fitness guru who's been unbelievably well loved. He's gone, and we're almost certain he's going to end up with Mick Moldhouse at Carlton. But they'd known that was coming for some time, Das. They had put a contract to Butterfint, and he hadn't accepted it. They know he's going to Carlton.
From the playing list side of things, we mentioned Shaw. Is he in doubt for 2014 now?
I still think he's Shaw. You just have to find a way. 28 years of age, around about. I think he's a good enough player, but maybe change the role. I think Alan Didak, we've said before that maybe it's come to the end for Didak, who's
Darren
so
Jolly.
loved. Well, then Darren Jolly comes into question too, doesn't it, with their list. I mean, unless you're forensically going through the list and how many spots they've got available, but Darren Jolly thereabouts. I'm a massive fan of Jolly. I think maybe one more year.
Do you also make the call that's been in the offing for some time now, Scott Pendlebury to replace Nick Maxwell?
Yeah, I think so. I think Nick Maxwell's been a great captain, a premiership captain in the Tom Harley mould, but when you've got a ready-made leader who is around the footy, who can impact the game as much as Scott Pendlebury, I think the time's right for the changeover in captaincy to take place.
You called Friday night's game Hawthorn playing Sydney. You're really impressed with Hawthorn's ball use, Dust.
It is incredible. I can't remember a side. Remember, they're playing against the best defensive team in the game, and probably over the last 10 years, Sydney have defined the way that you put pressure on side. Have a look at how well they kick the footy. Bruce Tier under pressure. You would love to get on the end of some of this. It was beautifully weighted. That one Roughhead made his own, but the skill level by foot of this team,
particularly in the second half,
just incredible. You know, they lead up, they pick targets off inside 50. Look at that from Hale. It's lace out. Mitchell's high quality has been forever, but to place that, we saw Collingwood get beaten because they couldn't do this, and that is find targets inside 50. Running through the middle of the ground. White crosses ball here, long to Gunston. How well are Hawthorn looking with the week off? And you can roll in Cyril Rioli and Buddy Franklin. You could not be better placed if you're Hawthorn.
Yep. Hey, Tom Hawkins was finally left out of the Geelong team on the weekend for the back problem. Sat in the box with Neil Balme. Has a look at some stats stars during a break here and gives them back to Balme, and not that happy, Balme.
Out of the old school Balme, he just said, not required. Tom, we're just going to worry about your back. Leave the stats to me, and I'm not too concerned about the sheet in front of me. Let's have a look at the finals draw coming up, Damo. And I know you picked all the winners last week. Any more upsets coming up? Geelong and Port Adelaide on Friday night. The winner plays Hawthorn.
I'm right about Sydney Swans, Dust. I know you like them, and I know you think they'll win that game, but I think Carlton now, having had a win that didn't expect to have, is a live chance in that game.
I think the two favourites for me, Geelong and Sydney, and then I think Hawthorn and Fremantle look an unbelievable shape. Thank you, Damo. That's it for another edition of Access All Areas. Don't forget on afl.com.au, Damo and I are continuing our wash-up series. We're reviewing every club in the competition, what they did right or wrong in 2013 and how they can improve. This week we'll tick off the Kangas, the Bombers, the Pies and the Tigers. Thanks once again for joining us. We'll see you next Monday.